Well, hello there, and welcome to this very special video slash. If you're listening to this on the podcast, the Smoking Hot Podcast, welcome to this part of the show. I'm excited about this. We've been trying to arrange this for a few months. We've been busy and scheduling conflicts, but now we're here. We're doing this, and I'm excited to talk to this guy because I've done a little research on him, and this guy. You could call him up and coming, but he's beyond up and coming. He's out there, he's doing his thing, and we want to make it even more of a thing. And I'm proud to present here on this show, Brandon Mesen. How are you, sir?
Woohoo! What's going on, man? Thank you so much, brother. Thank you.
You are very welcome, and welcome to the show. Your music, I have to say, I've listened to some of it, especially the song Star Killer. I listened to that recently, and I don't even have words for it. You all are extremely talented. By the way, his group's name is called, very appropriately, Messing Around. I love the group name. I wanted to clarify before we got on here exactly if it was a group or if it was just his project name, but well, explain to everybody kind of what this is, Messing Around.
So Messing Around is an ongoing project that's going to be alive forever. And sometimes the members of the band will switch, like it has been with this upcoming album, but it's all right because it's an ongoing process. And so I'm just trying to get everyone involved in messing around. And I think just have that, like, just be there forever. You know what I'm saying?
Right. This just, have something that's long lasting, even if it's not the same group over and over, it's still you, first of all, and second of all, the music lives on. Now, when you started Messing Around, was it with friends, or did you start it with just like, talented musicians that you'd heard about or something?
That's a good question. So I guess the whole Messing Around thing happened when, I think that was in like 2017 was when I created Summer of Love. And it was just an album that I was just going to create anyways myself. And I met really, really, really cool people, just perfectly timed for the album as well. So it all just worked out. And that's what created Messing Around, was just that foundation back then. And then we just kept the name Messing Around just because I was actually nicknamed in, I think it was middle school, in some class. I forget what the heck the class was, but the guy was like, "Don't be messing around." And so that kind of, like, I heard that way back, and so I'm finally just like using that name again. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And and what a name it is. I mean, it's perfect for a group. And when back in school, when they would say, "Don't be messing around," were they trying to pun your name? Did they realize they were punning your name, or was that just a coincidence?
No, they definitely knew it. They had to know it because it's just the perfect initials.
Right. So now you started Messing Around in 2017. Is that when you started in music, or when did all of this start for you?
Man, that's a good question. I think I kind of like forget. I think I started playing drums at a very young age, like 6, but then I stopped playing drums. And I didn't really focus on anything musically, and then not until around age 16, I believe, was when I got introduced to the ukulele. And then I think at 17 or something, I got my first guitar, and then that's when it really blew up, like the songwriting thing.
Right. That's interesting you mentioned the ukulele, because my sister has just gotten into the ukulele. Just got one for her graduation gift, and she's already getting a little talent on it. But what's the secret behind playing a ukulele? I can pass this along.
It's it doesn't really, like, music theory doesn't really matter because we are creating music theory.
Right.
So she can do whatever she wants to do on it and make whatever sound she wants to make on it, however she wants, and that's what she needs to do. That's how I did it. I never learned from someone or anything. I just picked up some strings. I did some little woo to do boo boo, and then woo,
and then it just went from there.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So you started you're kind of like all over the place when it comes to like when you first got into music. Was it something that you always wanted to do, or was it sort of like a back and forth? Maybe I'll do it, maybe not.
I never have ever given up on music. I never thought in my mind like I'm not gonna make it, or I'm not gonna be happy doing it, or nothing's gonna happen. And if I gave it up like 5 years ago, I would be crying because what I did in those 5 years, I've really done a lot in those 5 years to, and like the printing out, like when you print out the paper, from the computer, that's like who you are. All that data is getting printed out. And so, you can't miss out on opportunities, what I'm trying to say.
That's right. You can't win if you don't play, right?
Yes, sir.
Get out there and do it. So, and how many albums have you put out with Messing Around? Is it just the two, the first one and the most recent one, or are there more?
There's one on SoundCloud. It's the very, very first album I ever created. It's called Adventure Walks. It's on SoundCloud under Brandon Mesen, I think. And then, yeah, the whole entire music story was crazy. Some of it didn't even get released because the computers got smashed.
Wait, they got smashed?
Like the hard drive. I don't know what happened to the hard drive, but it got freaking, everything just got deleted. And that was way back, but I persevered so fast that was so far behind. It didn't weigh me down at all.
Right.
But I think that happens with everyone. You create masterpieces, and then sometimes it just doesn't work out. It gets deleted. Something happens, but you can't just sit on the past and like wish that like you would have made it. You just got to make it.
Right. You got to keep on going, keep on going. So now, what was the because like I really love Star Killer. It's such a great song. What was the inspiration behind that?
Well, this isn't FM radio, right?
No, this is podcast.
All right, cool. So I can
Yeah.
say whatever.
Say what you feel. Let it out.
All right, so I'll show you from the day one when it started. So my old drummer, he brought over some ganja, and the ganja just happens to be Star Killer, and so we partaked in it, and so immediately when we went back into the basement to jam out, the exact song that you hear on Star Killer is like what we did, and not the lyrics, but like the melody was exactly what we did, and I don't know, we just from smoking Star Killer, we just created a Star Killer song.
From the depths of Star Killer became a masterpiece that is Star Killer.
Yeah,
exactly.
Of course. But so there's more meaning of it, obviously.
Well, sure. Now, how are you handling? Because I've been interested in this since it started with any musician. How are you handling creating music, getting it out there during this pandemic? Like, how has that worked for you?
Honestly, it's been the best thing in the world because I never stopped. And I feel like when the pandemic started, everyone just started to stop doing everything. Everyone just like put everything back on plan B and like didn't focus, and they just like lost a little concentration, just like stopped focusing on like who they are and stuff, and they started fearing and worrying about themselves, everyone else. And I just never did that, and I just kept persevering more than I never have ever before. So it feels good to be at this position where it's like I have done so much in my life, and it's like I'm at the peak, I believe, of my life, at least, like with like networking and just like everything. I just have a good feeling.
It's even with horrible stuff going on, you can still find something great within it. You really can.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that to be true too, and I think a lot of people do. The creative juices tend to flow a little bit better when you have to just stay put, and focus on things, right?
Of course.
Now, obviously you've not done any big touring, but have you done any performances since the pandemic started? Anything really going out there in terms of performing?
I've been performing. It's just not really at live shows, which is something that I was like, because I was already playing all these shows and stuff, like putting so much work into shows anyways. Like I put like 5 years into playing shows, like just like hardcore, just put 5 years of work into like just playing shows, whether that's like a freaking show on the street, a show in the garage, show in the basement, show in the freaking whatever, the yard. And I realized that like that is cool and everything, but I then realized that like, why don't I just save my time, save my life, all that money, all that time, and just do this radio tour and just do it remotely, so I don't really have to show up. I can just do it, and then it just happens, you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you mean. And really, that's absolutely true, that this is probably, like we were talking about, creativity has been flowing so much more through this pandemic, but really getting the word out there and getting yourself known probably has been easier during this than any other time, because you're on this show, obviously. You can be on any show at any time without ever having to leave your home. You're putting yourself out there as much as possible at this point.
You got to.
Yeah, you have to. Absolutely. Well, what are the plans like? I mean, because, the pandemic's obviously still raging for a while, but maybe by the middle of the year, we can finally pull ourselves out of this. What would be next for Brandon Mesen and Messing Around after this pandemic is over?
Well, it depends on when the pandemic is over, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be over anytime soon. It feels like I feel like this is like the peak of it.
Right.
At least that's what we hear or see.
It's the climax, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the climax for sure. Just like the stock market, if it falls or drops.
Right. Aren't you sick of living through history? Because I am.
Me too.
Yeah.
But we got half a year. I believe that Feels Good to Be a Weird Kid is gonna drop in the summer. Is probably when that's probably gonna like chill out a little bit. So we got a summer drop. Feels Good to Be a Weird Kid. It's gonna be wicked.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so the radio tour will continue. Do you have any big dates to promote? Anything coming up at all?
Man, if I get back out of this, but I don't want to end it. I got a couple coming up, and if you guys go on my Instagram, Messing Around, I'm going to be airing in South Africa and UK for like 7 days straight, starting on the 18th, and that's the date when Starkiller drops.
Wow. And that's January 18th, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. 6 days.
6 days. So as you're watching this on YouTube, that's coming up. But if you're listening to this on the Smoking Hot Podcast, it's out now. So if you've not listened to Starkiller, you need to go listen to it. This guy has got a lot of talent, and he's got the music talent is incredible. He's a really big talent as well. And keep your eyes peeled. I mean, Messing Around is out there, and he's going to be dominating, and the group's going to be dominating very soon. Once we get out of this pandemic, I see huge things happening, and huge things are already happening. So keep your eyes peeled for Messing Around. Brandon, where can everybody find you and your music?
I guess the only thing that's around these days is what we all know, which is, what is it? iTunes, Spotify. That's like the only two. I think there needs to be more outlets of just music distributors. Like that's crazy.
You're absolutely right. Even with this podcast, we link it to SoundCloud like you have, and it goes out. It distributes to so many different platforms, but that's
dope.
It's never enough. You want it to get it out there even more. I agree. But iTunes, Spotify, you do have some stuff on SoundCloud. Follow Brandon. I believe your handle is Mesen_around, correct?
Yes.
Let me check to make sure. Yes, it is Mesen_around. You can follow him and keep up with everything that he's doing, and check out the music, man. He's got a lot of talent. This kid is going far, and I've become a big fan of yours, and I really love what you do. So, Brandon Mesen, thank you so much for being on the show with us this week. You're awesome.
You're the man, brother. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
This shit's amazing, bro. We're only gonna go up from here.
We're the sky's the limit, and we're not there yet. This is Brandon Mesen with Messing Around. You've been watching him here on YouTube and listening to him on the Smoking Hot Podcast.